Hey, guys, Old Man G here, back again. We're actually bringing this back. Actually, I haven't done this in a while, partly because most of the Premier League games have been the games have been on a Friday, and so it's been difficult to actually do fantasy football. But we're back. We're back. I'm joined again by Josh. Josh, how you doing?
Not too bad. Not doing very well in fantasy football, but
We're gonna see these, and it's for shout out to Kobe in the comments. Hey mate, not seen you not do these in a while. Yeah, man, sorry about that. It's just the nature of the game weeks. They've been falling on Fridays and at 6. I think it's like half six matches. So as a result, like it has to be like 5 o'clock or something. It's Laps World. Thanks, you guys. So yeah, get involved, guys. We're gonna be doing our fantasy Premier League stream, and we're gonna have a look at us basically mine and Josh's teams going into this week. Try and maybe give you a bit of advice, and maybe you guys giving us some advice as well. To be honest, because my goodness, it's going to be interesting this week. So first and foremost, I'll just have a quick scroll down actually at the fixtures. As everyone can see, you've got Crystal Palace against Liverpool, Southampton City, Everton, Arsenal, Newcastle, Fulham, Brighton, Sheffield, Spurs, Leicester, Man United, Leeds, West Brom, Aston Villa, Burnley, Wolves, Chelsea, West Ham, and so on. Now, I and Joshua, just keep an eye on the comments. There's a quick question here: Salah or Bruno as captain? What do you actually answer that, Josh? What do you think? Bearing in mind, obviously, that Liverpool playing Crystal Palace away, and their away form hasn't been that great, and United are playing Leeds at home.
I wouldn't change your captains too much, depending on who. Obviously, if you're playing a team that you're going to score goals against, then it makes sense to change your captain. But I've kept Bamford as my captain for the past 3-4 weeks, and he might not be, getting in. He might not get like 3 goals a game, but he's getting a goal or an assist at least a game. So those are extra points coming in, and I know I can rely on him. So whoever your captain is normally, I would just pick him. And I mean, Leeds concede goals. Crystal Palace don't concede as many, but Salah's on penalties, so it's really a toss-up. I would keep Bruno because Bruno's just consistent with points. And sometimes, you play teams like Crystal Palace. I mean, everyone who plays Liverpool likes to put 10 men behind the ball, essentially, unless it's Leeds. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe do questions later towards.
Actually, yes, good point. We'll go through lineups, then we'll do questions towards the end. Otherwise, I won't be able to get through it. So I'll quickly show you my team first. This is actually my starting 11 that I've gone with actually going into this. I actually had two, because I forgot about this game. I actually had 2 free transfers. So so because of that, I got Martinez in goal. I think Martinez has been very, very solid, and I think that against West Brom, I expect a clean sheet. West Brom don't really score like tons of goals, so I expect a good clean sheet against West Brom. Back 3 is interesting. Now, I'm not really going to be relying on my defense too much this week, to be honest. James against West Ham, to be honest, I don't really expect a clean sheet from the Chelsea team, but maybe he might be involved in assists going forward, which is why he's there. Vestergaard City likewise, but again, might be involved in the box set pieces, so I think he might be get a cheeky point depending on how someone to play. The only person I'm taking feature from which I brought in for this week was Newcastle's Clark. They're playing against Fulham. So again, expect a clean sheet from them. Going into the remaining players, and so I'll get to your questions, guys, in a second. I've actually captained Marcus Rashford. Joshua kind of alluded to this that like Leeds are going to concede goals. It's just the nature of them, and Rashford looked like he had a point to prove. Normally, I would captain Bruno, but I feel like I want to take a risk here. I feel like I want to take a risk here because while Fernandes does score goals and does assist goals, so he will definitely get you points. I feel like Rashford, given how Leeds play, I just feel Rashford is going to have a good game. So he's going to have quite a few opportunities to do what he does. So I think Marcus Rashford is I've decided to captain Marcus Rashford anyway. Fernandez, obviously enough said. Son, again, consistent. He's always going to be in my team. Grealish, hopefully will do bits against West Brom. This guy's been in my team for a good while now. And then my front three is pretty much the same. Callum Wilson, again, against Newcastle. I think he's a good goal. Patrick Bamford, I know it's a bit ironic, especially as a Manchester United fan, him being in, but Bamford, again, Leeds will also score goals, so I think getting Patrick Bamford in is a good shout. And Calvert-Lewin, although I think it's still going to be difficult, if there's anyone that's going to score against Arsenal and against his defense, it's going to be Calvert-Lewin. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Josh, and what you guys' thoughts are in the comments.
Yeah, Martinez, I keep forgetting to put him in, actually. He's been solid. He's got, I think he has the most number of clean sheets this season. In the first 5 games, anyway. I don't know if it's still the same now, but, he's solid.
Yeah.
Vestergaard has been scoring headers.
Leeds don't know how to defend. They concede 3 against Fulham. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Leeds concede. I mean, the only time from what I remember they haven't conceded was against Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal scored past them.
I think that was very much. I always think that was very much because you were down to 10 men and you just sort of got into solid defensive shape and they just couldn't finish. Because when you got down to 10 men, it was just they didn't bother to come out. So, but sorry, go on.
But the rest of the team, there's people who are going to get you points. It's weird because I'm going to tell people not to put Son in right now. Because anytime I put Spurs players in my team, Spurs bottle it or they lose and they don't get me points. So I need to start putting Spurs players back in my fantasy football team.
Well, let's
put some back in.
Oh, sorry. Lapses, check my team. Okay, we'll have a quick check of Lapses and Kobe Miranda's team before we go to your team, Josh. So it's Lapses. What do you think of my team? Mendy, Zuma, Ogbonna, Fofana, Salah, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba, Podence, McGoldrick, and Bamford.
McGoldrick. What made you want to put McGoldrick in there? The rest of it is good, though. Yeah, I would maybe take Pogba out and put Souček in, because Pogba's good, but he doesn't. He normally gets key passes, but he doesn't normally actually get assists. Like, I don't think he got the assist versus Martial, even though he should have got it. So Pogba's like a really good player, but I think he's relatively expensive. I would go like Souček, who scores from corners from West Ham, someone like that. Bamford is a good shout. Podence doing well. I actually just put Neto in my team, but I don't know about McGoldrick.
Yeah,
he only scores against top 6 teams, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. McGoldrick is the one in that where I'm kind of like against Brighton away, so maybe, but
and then Kobe's team, Martinez is very good. Reece James, you got 2 Chelsea fullbacks. Target is okay. I will say this right now. I do not think that Chelsea are going to. I don't think that Chelsea is going to keep a clean sheet against West Ham. Chelsea don't really keep many clean sheets.
No. So if you're going to put Chelsea defenders in, it must be because we're going to be relying on likes of Chilwell, for example, and James to get assists.
Also, Kobe, Chelsea haven't beaten anyone in the top 13. So West Ham are what, 8th, 9th, 7th? So just saying.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh, because he scored 2 against United, Laps. Yeah, he always scores against top 6 teams, so he's good to have on the bench, I think. But I don't know if he'll do anything against Brighton. He always seems to just turn up against the top 6 teams. So.
No, I agree.
Scored against Arsenal, 2 against United, and he scored against Liverpool. Was it Liverpool?
I think he actually scored against Liverpool, yeah.
No, Chelsea. It was Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea. Okay, fine. Okay, right. Let's quickly get to your team, Josh. The easiest way for me to do that would be. Let's quickly.
I'm way at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was second.
Yeah, I know
I
you
was
did.
second.
Really. Okay, so I can't. Okay, well, this was your team from last week. So, which player did you keep this team? Which players did you bring in?
So obviously I had to take Gabriel out,
Yeah,
and
okay.
Maitland-Niles is coming in, which
Okay, so
like
Maitland
he's been on my
Niles-
bench. He's
Okay.
been on my bench for ages, and he actually had a really good game against Southampton.
Mm.
And I'm thinking if we go, I'm presuming we're going to go to a back three because Gabriel's injured, and I don't think Arteta's going to trust like a Louise and a Holden next to each other. So I have a feeling we're going to go back three, and then Maitland-Niles is going to play wing back, which is going to make him quite expansive, and he could get an assist. So that was my thinking there. I took Rashford out, and I don't know, just because I was angry, pretty much. Yeah, this is
Rashford or what?
No, this is before the game. I was just like, screw you guys, man, just get out of my team. And I put Neto in there.
Okay, so you got Neto here instead of Rashford. Okay,
and I took Maddison out because he's been a fraud this year.
Yeah.
And I put, I think I put. Let's see. I put Son. Yeah.
Son. Okay, so Son has come into this team. Okay, and your front is still the same: Bamford, Calvert-Lewin, and Vardy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think which is a good shot. I think so. I think Vardy should score against Spurs. It's not against Spurs. Who they're playing against? Yeah, it is Spurs. It's Spurs at home. Vardy, if he's going to score, it's going to be Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, and Bamford likewise. So before we go into our who our captain pick should be, let's just check a few questions again.
Yeah.
I put Kofal instead of James. Josh.
Kufal instead of James. I genuinely don't know who that is. Kobe. I'm sorry. I've never heard of him.
Kufal.
I've heard of Boufal, but he doesn't play in the Premier League anymore. Let me check who Kufal is. Kufal plays for. He's a budget keeper.
West Ham.
He's the West Ham right back. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't chop and change too much. I think your fullbacks pretty much should stay the same. It's always going to have like a Chilwell or a Trent in there, or a Robbo. The fullbacks probably aren't the what you need to worry about. I would say keepers maybe. But he has been playing well, so
especially against the Chelsea team, it might be.
Yeah,
I just think the Chelsea West Ham game is quite difficult to call. I do think, however, that West Ham will probably be more defensive going away to Stamford Bridge, so I don't expect their fullbacks to be going up, bombing forward, and putting crosses in, etc. So maybe James is probably a better shout, in my opinion. But I just think that game is difficult to call, just because, as we've seen, Chelsea do seem to not really pick up points against teams. Maddison has been pretty. Yeah, he has. Let's quickly. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's actually just quickly go into who we think our captain pick should be. Josh, who do you think should be? Who would you say is the one? Who would you say is your captain pick? Well, what's your captain pick, and then who do you think should be, the most important captain pick this week?
Bamford is my captain pick, just because Man United, for whatever reason, they love conceding goals, but they're pretty much just outscoring the opponent. I don't know how they're doing it, and respect to Ollie's juju. I respect it. People. I know this is a bit off topic, but it's kind of dangerous how Man United are, because Klopp's team were outscoring people, but their defense was shaky before the sudden improvements. And I'm not saying Ollie. They don't play that style of football like gegenpress. They pretty much play counter-attacking, very, very deadly football, very deadly. And you're just a hater if you think Ollie doesn't know what he's doing. And so, they I don't think they have the right balance at the defense at the minute. Tellez, for me, isn't the best defensively, and Maguire isn't either. So you're going to get goals against United. I don't remember last time United had a clean sheet. I don't think they have had a clean sheet this season.
I can't. I think we got a clean sheet against. It was West Brom.
West Brom, even though they should have had a penalty.
Yeah.
But your man David Coote in the VAR room.
Yeah. Good
anyway.
Hashtag Coote, man. Hashtag
yeah.
Coote.
But that's my reasoning with Bamford for captain. But whoever you're like, if you normally have a Fernandes or a Salah or a Kane as captain, I wouldn't change those. Just like keep your captain as it is, and then chop and change around the other team. Unless you're playing like a team for sure concedes goals, like a United or an Arsenal or a Fulham or a et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah.
Islab says, I put Rashford in. Is that good? Yeah, I think so. I've captained Rashford, I think, for the reason that I said that I feel like this game, Leeds are going to concede goals. United are going to concede goals. But I think if there's a player that's going to get a few goals in the goal sheet, it's going to be Marcus Rashford. I don't think it's even a bad idea to put Martial in the side either, but I think if we're going to be talking about goals, I think I'm actually really looking forward to the game because I think it's going to be, depending on how Ollie sets up, I think it'd be very pointless to sign to be very defensive against this team. So I think both teams are just going to go all out and try and attack, and I think it's going to be an entertaining game of football, which is really good to see. And that's obviously on Sunday. I'm doing Bruno. Yeah, I think Bruno says it's a good shout. Although he's not been getting as many. He's on penalties. So if we get a penalty, which wouldn't surprise me with Leeds, you don't know what will happen. But I don't necessarily think he will score. He'll be involved in goals going on, so he might necessarily score tons of goals. Adam Talks Sports. Shout out to Adam Talks Sports. Please head over to his channel and subscribe if you're a new user. Start his channel, so support him. And then Rashford has a point to prove. Who's my vice captain? Well, we'll go into MVP in a second. I've obviously said I think if we're talking about captains, I think a captain should be Marcus Rashford, in my personal opinion. But my vice captain is actually Son. Just because again, Son, almost like Bruno Fernandes, has become consistent in terms of goal involvement. So he'll get a goal or an assist a game at least. He just is that good, Son Heung-min. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League because he's basically South Korean. That's the why. Because he's not been talked about as being world class because he's even when Harry Kane scores. No, even Son scored. Sorry, they're still like. But did you see how got the movement and something? You're like, for goodness sake, man!
Son literally won the Puskas Award. They'll still manage to say Harry Kane was involved somehow. Yeah, and it's not even fair because Harry Kane is such an amazing player, but the way the English media bumlick him, it's not fair to him. I don't think he wants all this attention. Let's be honest.
No, I agree. Unless Kane starts claiming goals again,
yeah, it's funny.
Shout out to please. Oh, it's Laps. Oh, do you have a YouTube channel? If Laps has a YouTube channel, guys, please head over to his channel and subscribe to his channel. That's a good shout. So Josh, who you said you captain banned from saying Captain Rashford?
Yeah, my vice was Son.
Who would you say? And we've got about 7 minutes left before the deadline, because the deadline's at 11 o'clock, as you can see. Who would you say is? Oh, I'm making the wrong thing. Who would you say outside of Cameron would be your MVP, most valuable player going into this game week? And it doesn't have to be like a world class player, but just someone who you think is just important to play in this game week.
I think you've got to have some people from Spurs Man United match or Chelsea match, just because I mean Leicester have been conceding. They just lost to Everton, and they're quite inconsistent. They don't seem to, even if they do beat, because obviously they beat Man City, they beat Arsenal. They still concede goals against people. Spurs, I mean, Mourinho likes to play against the top sides and get draws minimum. So that's why I wasn't really thinking about captaining someone like Son. But I'm sure they'll score. You know, Kane and Son. You know, they assist and score each other, combine in all the time. So, and then Chelsea, West Ham. Obviously, Chelsea haven't beat anyone in the top 13. So it's likely that a West Ham player will either get a goal or a clean sheet there. And yeah, the Man United leads, both teams concede. It's going to be a cracker, that game, honestly. That's going to be absolutely amazing.
I think
it's actually quite a good game week, especially today. You've got the first 3 games that look amazing.
Exactly. I'm generally looking forward to the first, like how Crystal Palace will do against Liverpool, and how Southampton will do against City, especially that second game, because Southampton looking good. Southampton are looking really, really good. And I think that City aren't scoring goals, basically. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. Because man, if City lose and United win, I mean, you just don't know. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be a very tight game because a lot of the teams, in the top 8, with the exception of Arsenal, are playing each other. You know, and going head to head. You know, so we'll see what happens. I think you've got to have Podence in for Wolves. Wolves. I mean, to be fair, against Burnley, I don't know, because I feel like against Burnley, because the thing about Wolves is that when they played against some of the bigger teams, they've been on top, but against teams like Burnley, who are very, very defensive, I just remember that Wolves have generally struggled. So as good as I think the Podence and like Lex Neto are, I just don't know how effective they're going to be against Burnley, to be honest. I remember last season they didn't particularly win those games either, but that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. And I ain't watching the game. Okay, fair enough. So what about, just as we're rounding things up in the last couple of minutes before the Gameweek week, do you think that there's what I call like a dark horse player, just like a cheap player that you think is reasonable to come in at all?
Neto was pretty cheap.
But do you think he'll do the business against? Do you think he'll do the business against Burnley? Is my point.
No, he could. You know, he's Wolves. Wolves are, you know, apart from Man United, I think they're the best second half team in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't see why not. And Burnley, who did Burnley just play? They got absolutely Villa. Villa scored them off the park for 90 minutes, but we're just unlucky. So I think Wolves are probably arguably more clinical. Villa players seem to be tired because, you know, Grealish, Watkins, people like that playing every game. So yeah, I went with Neto. Neto is very cheap. He's like, I think it says there 5 point something.
Yeah, Neto and proven to be crucial since Jimenez is still injured. Yeah, Ward-Prowse, I would say. I mean, maybe it's an honorable shout out. Remember Newcastle playing Fulham. So to be honest, I would, if you got a Newcastle defender like a Clark, or maybe trusting Callum Wilson, who's actually been I think he's Newcastle's top goal scorer this season, and he's actually quite cheap. He's only about 6.5.
And I just saw Lap said Harrison and Rafinha. They're I had Rafinha and he was good. Where any of those Leeds midfielders put in the business. And Ward-Prowse, I've got him as well. Adam Talk Sports. So yeah, all good shouts. Any of those could go in.
No, definitely.
All of them are cheap.
That's the key thing. I think for me going to this game week, like, I mean, I was really wanted to put like Salah and Mane in, but I was just kind of like, one, they're very expensive, and two, are Salah and Mane, looking at how Liverpool are they going to score multiple goals? They might score multiple goals, but like at best, I just can't see Liverpool scoring. Salah and Mane scoring 3-4 goals against this Crystal Palace side away from home, because the evidence hasn't been there this season. They might get a goal, but there are other players in the squad that are cheaper that could probably get a goal and assist as well, you know. So I think going for the cheaper players is probably the better option. Right, we've got 1 minute left before the deadline stream. Are there any final questions for who you should have in your team, who you should select before the deadline finishes? We have 1 minute exactly. We have 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Get those fantasy football changes in. Get those fantasy football changes in. I think I'm going to keep with my team. As I said, this is my team right now, and hopefully it does the business. Fingers crossed.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. Indeed, man. You know. So yeah, Kobe, exactly. Locked in. I mean, we should definitely. I think from next season, maybe not this season, we will have a Nick Pope. Nick Pope is always not a bad shout. Although I still think that Martinez is a better consistent goalkeeper. But yeah, we will try from next season. Hopefully, when this season's over, we'll do a proper Fantasy Premier League for this channel specifically, and hopefully I'll just have a bit more time to do more of these streams. Anyway, the deadline is here. It's gone 11 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for watching and getting involved. We will try and do these more and more often. Thanks, Josh, for coming on. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week, you know. So, and maybe possibly we might do a review of of our game weeks beforehand, just so that you can see how well me and Josh have done and advice on the future. Ipsap says, few just in time. I put Rafinha in instead of Pogba. What do you think about that? Yeah, I think that's a decent shout. I think it'll fundamentally depend on, because the thing is, the reason why I think that's a good shout, it's Laps, is that I'm not 100% sure that Ollie is going to start Pogba. I think he might, but if he knows how Leeds are playing, I think he might potentially be defensive and start Freddie McTominay. And if he starts Freddie McTominay, Pogba's not going to start. So I think Rafinha is the safer option. I think Pogba would play a better game, but it's a possibility that Pogba isn't going to start. So I think that's a good shout. Do you have him in the league? Not yet. I think it's a bit too late to start one. But we will probably from next season, we'll definitely start one. Yeah, definitely, Kobe. But thanks for getting involved. I appreciate it, man. We will try and get these done regularly. Right. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a nice day. And cheers.